Obviously, I'm here.
Yeah.
I was very upset over the Biden administration policy. And as you can tell, I'm very upset over the Trump administration policy. So let's deal not in strawman, but me in the here and now.
In terms of the tools that I have, the tools that we have in general, to me, the most important thing is a pressurized campaign to get aid into people who are starving. That to me is the number one, because that's the one is urgent and today. And that.
But will you cut off aid to Israel so long as they're committing crimes against humanity?
Okay, we finally have a Democratic senator actually being held to account for their actions in supporting this genocide that's happening in Gaza. So Elissa Slotkin, if you don't know, she is Chuck Schumer's golden girl. Chuck Schumer has been grooming her to take over the Democratic Party when he retires. He actually had her do the Democratic response to Trump's address. If you don't remember, back in March, Donald Trump gave an address about like the state of the nation, and this was the Democratic response. I thought it was horrible, and I want to play you one little piece of this response that has been stuck in my mind since March. Okay, so here we go. Let's play this.
Changing this country for the better. But every single time, we've only gotten through those moments because of two things: engaged citizens and principled leaders. Engaged citizens who do a little bit more than they're used to doing to fight for the things that they care about, and principled leaders who are ready to receive the ball and do something about it. So thank you tonight for caring about your country. Just by watching, you qualify as engaged citizens.
So anyway, that just stuck in my craw and gave me such a sour taste in my mouth, because she wants her citizenry, her constituents, to be engaged while she is the principled leader that's above it all. She says that like once she gets the ball from her constituents, then she'll take the ball and run with it. Acting like she has no power as a Democratic senator in the United States Senate. She's an elected senator in the United States Senate, and she wants her citizenship to be engaged, because if her constituents aren't engaged, then her hands are tied, right? Principled leaders, but engaged citizens. It just rubbed me such the wrong way. Why do these Democrats feel like they don't actually have to do anything? And they're just going to be principled, and then when the election comes around, the constituency that's engaged, if they're not engaged, they're not doing a good job, they're going to understand that Donald Trump is bad, and so they're always just going to automatically vote for the next Democratic candidate. That's what these Democrats think is going to happen, and they have no agency. They feel no urgency to actually try to achieve some kind of change in their position. So, look, I've been calling my Democratic representatives pretty much like once a week since this election. They haven't done shit. And so I am over the moon faced with this video where you actually have a Democratic senator having her feet held to the fire on these untenable positions that the Democratic establishment has taken over Gaza. So we can let's get a little bit of a background information about this. So here is a statement that Elissa Slotkin made on Israel. For the last few weeks, I've been following the developments in Gaza and Israel closely, including the several false starts on a lasting ceasefire. I've met with current and former officials, along with so many Michiganders who fear and pray for their families and loved ones in the region. The situation is dire. Distribution of humanitarian aid is being mismanaged. It's just being mismanaged and used as a tool to steer the movement of people, all to further some right-wing visions of Gaza. I would categorize that as Israel's vision of Gaza, to do ethnic cleansing, not as a tool to steer the movement of people. Steer the movement of people. She's saying withholding aid is steering the movement of people. Like the people are just gonna go no matter what, and they're just having a slight little inputs in the angle of trajectory that they're going on. Meanwhile, there has been very little real progress on bringing the hostages home, and our president's inflammatory rhetoric, including calling for the displacement of millions of Palestinians, has only fueled the illegal visions of some of the most right-wing parties in Israel. Once again, Hamas has made deals with, or they've made offers to Israel for a ceasefire deal, which is essentially, we'll give you all of the hostages, will leave power as long as you stop ethnically cleansing Gaza and you pull your military out of Gaza, and we actually have like a pathway forward to a two-state solution, and Israel has refused that. We need to bring all the hostages home, and Palestinians in Gaza need safe access to food and water. Israel and Hamas must agree to a lasting ceasefire. And there it is. Israel and Hamas must agree to a lasting ceasefire, basically putting the onus, putting the blame equally on Israel and Hamas rather than on Israel, which has broken every single ceasefire agreement that they've created, and which has refused to accept any actual long-lasting ceasefire, and treat it with the urgency it deserves for the sake of both the Israelis and the Palestinians and everyone here at home, all desperate to get a better chapter. So what you have here is absolutely no blame put on Israel for any of the kind of humanitarian disaster that's been going on in Gaza. This is a completely man-made disaster. They have destroyed all of the infrastructure in Gaza. They've bombed every single hospital there. It is a man-made famine. It's not that distribution of humanitarian aid is being mismanaged. It's that Israel is managing the aid, and Israel is saying that we don't want to feed Palestinians. Once again, we had Ben Gvir, who's a right-winger in the Netanyahu's war cabinet, say we shouldn't feed Palestinians food, we should just be feeding them bombs. That's what Israel's position is on the Palestinians. You can see here Senator Slotkin, my statement on the latest in Gaza and Israel. And then the top response is, okay, and now what are you going to do about it? Nice statement, but I want to hear what your actions are. And this is why the Democrats are shitting the bed right now. If you look at polling numbers, Democrats are polling below Republicans. It's ridiculous. Democrats can't just sit there and say, well, Trump is bad, so people are going to vote for us. Engaged citizens, principled leaders. That's their fucking game plan to win elections and turn this country around, and it's just not enough. More on Elissa Slotkin's deal with Israel. This is the Council on American Islamic Relations, CAIR. Call out members of Congress who voted for Gaza genocide denial. So not only do we have basically like no members of Congress other than Rashida Tlaib and maybe Ilhan Omar that actually refer to what Israel is doing in Gaza as a genocide, but we have members of Congress that voted to even undercount and discount the numbers of Palestinian deaths that are coming out of Gaza. So here we have these were the Democratic members of Congress who supported Representative Jared Moskowitz's amendment to the Department of State Foreign Operations and Related Programs Appropriations Act of 2025, which prohibits the State Department from citing statistics obtained from the Gaza health officials. So basically, anyone who voted for this says, no, we can't actually trust the statistics coming from the Gaza health officials. Then you have CAIR go on and they say, the World Health Organization, the UN, and other international bodies have verified the death toll reported by the Gaza Health Ministry, consistently finding it accurate in both this conflict and prior ones. And that's why people have been so comfortable in using the Gaza Health Ministry's statistics when it comes out about any kind of death toll that happens in Gaza, because they have been cross-checked by the World Health Organization, the UN, and other international bodies, and they've always found them to be consistently accurate. Consistently finding it accurate in both this conflict and prior ones. Despite these figures likely being undercounts, their reliability is undeniable. The ministry released a report listing every Palestinian killed in the war so far, including their names, ID numbers, ages, and gender, further validating their counts. And so we can take a look at this, and we know that over 60,000 Palestinians have died in the Israel-Hamas war, Gaza's health ministry says. So this is 145,000 people wounded, 60,000 death toll, and that's the people with the names, their ID, and that's who we officially know have died. 60,000 Palestinians in Gaza have died since October 7th. And that's not even counting the people that are missing or like crushed under the rubble or are going to die due to disease and starvation. And guess who voted for this? Elissa Slotkin. Elissa Slotkin voted to discount the numbers coming out of the Gaza Health Ministry to basically say anyone that's citing the statistics about how many Palestinians are dying, they're Hamas supporters, right? It's the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry. And so you can't actually believe anything they're saying. Once again, what do we say? What do we call people that look at what happened in the Holocaust and say, I don't really trust those numbers? We call them genocide deniers, Holocaust revisionism. That is an anti-Semitic trope. And so it'd be safe to say that if you disbelieve the amount of deaths coming out of Gaza right now, that is an Islamophobic trope. That is a pro-genocide position that you have. And she literally put her name down and voted for that position. Let's just like lay the groundwork more when we get into this conversation. Live, Israel starves more Palestinians to death in Gaza as attacks continue. So literally today, 71 aid seekers were killed since dawn across the Gaza Strip. Today, 71 aid seekers were killed. They weren't killed because they happened to collapse due to starvation when they were walking to get the food. They were shot by the IDF. Gaza hospitals record 7 new deaths from famine and malnutrition, raising the total hunger-related death toll to 154 since October 2023. Play this video.
Welcome to the News Hour. Israeli forces have targeted crowds of starving Palestinians trying to get food across the Gaza Strip. In the north, 25 people have been killed and more than 150 wounded as they tried to collect food. In total, 49 Palestinians searching for humanitarian aid have been killed by Israel's military on Wednesday. Tariq Abu Azoum is joining us on the phone from Gaza.
139 killed on Wednesday. Continue with more than 80 Palestinians. I mean, it's just a non-stop massacre. It really is a non-stop massacre. If you don't get shot, you starve to death or you get bombed. And you have people, this was 7 weeks ago, saying the situation is dire. The distribution of humanitarian aid is being mismanaged. Right? And people are so pissed with this. Children are dying in Gaza. Please do something. But are you still voting with Israel or with Gaza? I appreciate the statement, but will you vote to stop sending weapons to Israel? Not holding my breath. If you want a ceasefire, why are you voting in favor of military aid? And so with that background, let's get into this conversation. Because I think I have not seen this, and I am just as excited as you are to watch this.
Joining us now is Senator Elissa Slotkin of Michigan. Senator, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
We have a very limited amount of time. This is the internet, so you're here, and it's important that we ask some of the questions that are animating some of the younger voters and others. I assume that's part of the reason.
Once again, this is not a younger voter issue. This is a Democratic voter issue. This is a person with a conscience issue. People don't like seeing their tax money and their representatives voting to bomb children and innocent people, even if it's not in America. They don't like seeing that. And so, once again, when we look through her fucking Instagram page, I don't think it's fair to say that it's just young people that are posting replies in her comment section. You scroll and scroll. What are you doing about it? You're still voting for genocide. You're still voting to support Israel. Nice statement. What have you done? It's not just a young person issue. And the fact that Sagar's framing it as that is something that I really hope Krystal Ball will call out here.
That you hear. The first is about Jeffrey Epstein. It's a story that's really captured a lot of America's interest. So you're a former CIA officer. Do you think that Jeffrey Epstein had any connections to U.S. or Israeli intelligence agencies?
So, not that I've ever seen or heard, but there's
Have you
a
asked?
really... No, I haven't asked. But you know, this is like a solvable question because President Trump's CIA director, John Radcliffe, can answer this question, right? There is no shortage of people in this administration who can answer that question. I would be very surprised. I'm going to be honest. I know your views on it. I would be surprised.
Okay.
But I'm like a Middle East analyst. I was doing my time going after terrorist groups and militias in Iraq. And
she's a Middle East analyst. Okay, there we go. So that was her position. That was her position in the CIA, analyzing the Middle East. And she's such a good analyst that this is her statement on Israel and Gaza, like 10, 15 years later. Oh, yeah, distribution of aid is being mismanaged. Who knows how it's getting mismanaged? But needless to say, one side is starving to death and getting shot whenever they try to get it. They're just like, they're sending in too many bullets and not aid. When the IDF guards are shooting hungry Palestinians, they think that they're actually handing out bread. It's just like a rare mental discrepancy that these people are having, and that's completely localized to the IDF inside of Gaza.
I never saw it. I never heard anything about that. I, again, would be surprised, but...
Motherfucker, like, look, the Jeffrey Epstein thing is irrelevant compared to the genocide that's going on in Gaza. Like, he's dead. His child trafficking ring is done. At least we hope it's done. There hasn't been any evidence that it's still going, but like, you can at least use it as an opportunity to campaign. At least use it as an opportunity to like whip up conspiracy theories, learn something from the Republicans. Holy shit, why are the Democrats so fucking ineffective? They're just limp, dude. They're limp.
There's an easy way to solve that problem.
Well, that's the question then. So in terms of, because I know you've expressed some concern about classified information, et cetera, in the past, would you be fine then with a full release?
I love how Krystal can't even hide the contempt on her face. Like, I'm not talking about for Sager, but I think for Elissa. Like, once again, she's like, did you even ask if he's intelligence?
Release of these Trump Epstein files, even if they did reveal an intelligence connection.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, like, it's such a distraction from, in my mind, like what I really care about, which is.
Have you learned nothing? This is oh my God, I'm fucking freaking out. This is a major rift in the Republican Party. Trump is losing people. He's losing supporters in media. Media figures are losing audience members if they're going with Trump, if they're siding with Trump. The Democratic line, really, the Democratic line is that this is a distraction, that it's meaningless at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if our president fucked children or not. It's meaningless at the end of the day. Let's just like get past it. Principled leaders, holy shit, dude. Why is this a party that has to stand up against Donald Trump? Oh my God. But I guess this has to be the party that stands up against Donald Trump, right? This is the only party that could have allowed Donald Trump to take power in the first place. Are you kidding me? Like when he was 71 years old running against Joe Biden and we couldn't do anything to stop him from actually winning? Of course this is the party that's the opposition party to Donald Trump. It's the only party that could have possibly been. Like, only a party this week could have allowed Trump to get power in the first place. Oh my God.
Helping people like live well in Michigan. Just get it over with and get it out. And this wasn't like my issue. It's still not the thing that wakes me up in the morning and I want to work on. But I think it's okay to say it's a full distraction now in Washington. Everyone's talking about it.
Holy shit,
just
dude.
Unveil it, do whatever you need to do, answer the questions, and move past it.
Well, that's the last question then. So there's some accusations here from the Republicans on Epstein here, just about, why didn't you care for over 4 years? I know you asked the question in 2020. You said, I don't care particularly about Bill Clinton, et cetera. I mean, that's somewhat understandable, but, we do have a person, very specific circumstances, let alone, the sex trafficking organization, others. So, why don't you answer that question? Like, why is this now is the time that you do care?
Yeah,
or do you just not particularly care?
It's horrible when you have a pedophile and someone who had a literal pyramid scheme of recruiting 14 and 15-year-old girls for illegal sex. I mean, it's horrible. At the time, I sort of saw it as like one of these horrible stories that comes out every 5 months, about somebody. I think the Weinstein thing had happened.
You saw a billionaire pedophile that ran a sex trafficking ring of underage women that was best friends with the president of the United States as a story that comes out every 5 months? He was president at the time that Jeffrey Epstein, the story came out about Epstein. Trump was the president. What? Dude, these people have no political instincts whatsoever. It's literally just, I'm in the CIA, I'm like a deep state operative, and now the Democratic Party is going to take me under their wing and push me to the top of the party and try to like foist me onto the American people as an alternative to Donald Trump. She's literally a creature of the deep state. Like, she's a CIA asset, and then being like, oh yeah, like the genocide that's happening, don't worry about that. That's just like aid being mismanaged. Oh, billionaire pedophile, that's just like that has ties to Mossad and the CIA. Well, that's just a story that comes out every 5 months. It's a distraction. Let's not worry about it anymore. You can campaign on this and take down members of this country like Donald Trump, like Bill Clinton, that have done horrible things and are ostensibly your political opposition. I haven't heard you say one bad thing about Donald Trump yet.
There weren't Michiganders, to my knowledge, who were involved, women, young girls who were involved. So I kind of saw it as like a horrible moment.
Oh, there weren't people from your state that were involved, so you didn't care about it. Okay. All right, well, I guess that explains her position on Israel and Palestine, right?
But not particularly something that's like going to decide whether someone in my state can buy a house or get a good job. So to me, it was just like it wasn't like a strategic issue,
I'm shocked.
right, for me. And then
I'm shocked at this.
now it just is like grown. And I think there is a difference between saying some rich guy or a former politician was named in those things versus the president of the United States. That to me is.
I swear to God, Democrats fucking hate their voters. They hate them so much. They despise the fact, like I swear that Democrats think campaigning is beneath them. Like they just want to do the Kamala Harris thing where they go on stage every few months and they like give a speech about how bad Trump is and, and we're going to do good things and we're going to like make things easier for you to buy a house. But like, they detest the idea that they actually need to fight on issues and then can't actually campaign. Every single media appearance you go on, you should be campaigning. Like, what the fuck is this? Oh, it didn't help people in Michigan, so I just ignored that the president was best friends with a pedophile.
It is apples to oranges because one of them is leading the free world and one of them's not. So if his name is in there as it appears it is, just like deal with it and let's get on with it at this point.
What the fuck is she talking about? If the president turns out to be a pedophile, deal with it and let's get on with it at this point. What is she saying? She wants to just get past the fact that Donald Trump is a pedophile. She sounds like a Republican. She sounds like a mega cultist that's like, yeah, Trump's a pedophile, but like, who cares? We still love him. He's still representing our interests in government. What is she doing?
My 10-year-old nephew understands that the president is trying to dodge, trying to distract, trying to talk about other things. He hates answering this question. Like, we get it. So it feels off to the average person, right? To a 10-year-old, they're like, did he do something, right? So just get through it, get it out, and let's move on to for me, like real economic issues.
So then,
absolutely insane. Saying that I recognize this is a very popular issue and an easy to understand issue, but I'm still going to choose to not talk about it is insane. Just shoot yourself in the foot at that point. Just like sew your mouth closed. Why would you even be a politician? Like, how do you expect to campaign when you're like, this is a very popular, easy to understand issue and makes our opposition extremely uncomfortable? I'm just going to ignore that issue altogether. Even if you do think it's completely irrelevant and Trump wasn't in the files, he's not a pedophile or whatever, and you do really genuinely care about like improving affordability of housing, if you use that issue to campaign and you get more Democrats elected because of it, then that makes your project of trying to pass affordable housing or like rebuild Medicare, that makes those projects easier for the Democrats to achieve. Why can't you just use a gift that was given to you? It's crazy, man. The Democrats take like a fucking perfect gift in the Epstein controversy and they just turn their nose up at it. Oh, it's a distraction.
piece of legislation comes forward,
Yeah.
you would vote for it to support the release of the files.
Sure.
Okay, all right. So then let's talk about future of the Democratic Party. I know that's something you've been interested in. Democratic approval hit an all-time low from the Wall Street Journal. At the same time, we've seen the rise more recently of some anti-establishment candidates, people like Zoran Mamdani.
Yeah.
Give us some of your thoughts there about the future of the Democratic Party, and
Yeah.
particularly in the context of Mamdani's victory in New York
Yeah.
City.
Well, I guess as a good Midwesterner and Michigander, I'm never going to say that what happens in New York City represents all of America. Sorry, we're a big country, and I would never pretend to totally understand New York City politics. I didn't particularly understand Eric Adams. I didn't particularly understand.
Cue the "I'm not going to endorse Zoran."
I genuinely, right? But I think the message.
Like, once again, the political instincts are just atrocious, man. She sees that Zoran Mamdani, super popular progressive candidate, like won in a fairly landslide vote over someone who's really part of the establishment in Andrew Cuomo, and Zoran Mamdani just came out of nowhere and beat him by 12 points. And her first instinct is to distance herself from him. Once again, she said, "I'm not going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein because it's a distraction to the real issues, which is affordability for people of Michigan." And then you have a candidate whose entire platform was to make his city more affordable, and he won in a landslide, and he's a super popular, really, he's like capturing the political zeitgeist right now. And the thing you said that you're actually advocating for, he advocates for too, and your first instinct is to distance yourself from him. Like, yeah, tell me you're a member of the deep state without actually telling me. What the fuck is this, man? Just horrible political instincts.
And the hot take out of that election is actually not terribly dissimilar from what we heard in the November election when Trump won, right? Which is people are still focused on the cost of living and not being able to achieve what they thought they could achieve, right? And then number two, people are looking for a new generation of leadership. I don't think it's hard to miss those hot takes. I can have plenty of disagreements with what I've heard Mr.
Not a new generation of leadership. It's a leader that actually cares about the people. And Andrew Cuomo doesn't care about the people. That's the whole point. What is she going to say, that I'm I'm part of that new generation?
Mamdani propose, and I do. But that message coming out of that election.
What do you disagree with?
Just my family was a fourth generation hot dog business. Like I am here.
Motherfucker, dude. My family was rich, so I disagree with Zoran.
I can have plenty of disagreements with what I've heard Mr. Mamdani propose, and I do. But that message coming out of that election.
What do you disagree with?
Just my family was a fourth generation hot dog business. Like I am here because we live the American dream through capitalism.
Okay.
And
You're here because you made it into America through immigration. What is this bullshit of I live the American dream through capitalism? Once again, Zoran Mamdani's not going to get rid of capitalism in New York City. He wants like free buses for people and rent freeze on already rent controlled properties. And then the other thing that he wants is government run grocery stores in like each of the 5 boroughs. And she's saying that, oh well, like I'm in favor of capitalism, so I fucking hate Zoran Mamdani.
so like a lot of free
The poor hot dog conglomerates aren't going to be able to make any money in New York once Zoran has his government-run hot dog stores.
stuff to me is not capitalism.
Okay.
And so like a lot of free stuff to me is not the answer. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think that it.
Oh my God. She literally said a lot of free stuff isn't the answer. Holy shit, man. These people are empty. No actual discussion of his policies, no real disagreement. Just like, I don't like his vibes. He said he's a socialist, so, you know, a lot of free stuff isn't, like, indistinguishable from right-wing talking points. You can find the exact same thing on Fox News. Holy shit. This party's cooked, man. We're gonna lose the midterm election. I can't believe it.
It actually fixes the underlying problem. But I can have those disagreements. I think this is I would be.
The underlying problem is capitalism. What's the underlying problem? What is the underlying problem? Oh, free buses. Oh, people aren't going to have to pay like $5 every time they ride on the bus. Wow, that doesn't fix the underlying problem. Tax the rich people more so that we can pay for city-run grocery stores so that we can control the prices and there aren't going to be price gougings and there's going to be like stable consistency that people can rely upon. Oh, that's not the underlying problem. What's the underlying problem then? You said the underlying problem is like housing affordability. Zoran has policies to make housing more affordable, policies that have proven track records of working, such as getting rid of parking lot restrictions, making sure that like increasing upzoning New York, making sure that people can't just knock down apartments and combine apartments into like one major luxury condo. Like just building more houses. All of this is provably working. And she's like, I don't think free stuff is good. It doesn't fix the underlying issue. The underlying issue is that people can't afford to live. And if you make things easier for people by freezing the rent, by basically freezing grocery store prices and making busing easier, that is going to address people's underlying issues.
Thrilled to have that conversation with him or anyone else about like, hey, we agree that there's an economic problem here.
Economic problem.
What we do to solve it, let's have that debate. And adults can debate and not like want to kill each other's children.
Well, let's talk then about leadership.
What the
So you
fuck
just
is she
talked about
talking
that.
about?
We see a lot of that from our show. Some of the Democratic side of our audience is furious with Democratic leadership. I mean, do you still support Chuck Schumer's leadership here? He hasn't given an interview in about a month.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I've now served in the Senate for 6 months
He's
and the
her
House
daddy.
before that. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have hard jobs. Like herding cats, it's not fun.
Such a hard job. He can't even give a book tour because people are so pissed off at him for not shutting down the government and basically allowing Trump and Doge to do whatever they wanted. Oh my God.
I've said for a very long time, long before I got into the Senate and long before President Biden dropped out, that we need a new generation of leadership. You can feel it in, and I think at this point, I mean, especially New York, right? You're looking at New York, it's like, I'd rather roll the dice with someone new than have like the warmed over leftovers that I've already
Roll the dice with someone new.
known. So I think we have a problem with that across the board. And I think one of the things I can do as the youngest Democratic woman in the Senate, and you know, I'm not young, I'm just young for the Senate, to be clear.
You're young for us.
Yeah. I mean, is push on that and try to give younger leaders a voice in this party in a very real way.
Yeah.
And to me, that's upward pressure. That pressure that you're talking about from the people is good.
So then shouldn't they endorse him? I mean, what kind of a message, Schumer and Jeffries, shouldn't they endorse?
They're both from New York.
Johnny, they're both New Yorkers.
Yeah.
And what kind of a message does it send?
Bro, I love how Krystal's opened her mouth twice, and both of those things have been to challenge the position of Democrats like Slotkin. Have you talked? Have you asked if Epstein was part of the deep state or no? She's like, no, I haven't. Well, you say that you're in favor of a younger leadership, so then why haven't the Democrats endorsed Zoran?
If this guy won the Democratic primary.
Yeah.
He is the Democratic nominee.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming. If then the centrist leadership of the party said, we can't get behind it.
I mean, you just asked me before we started the exact same question about the Michigan Senate primary, and I'm like, Michigan Democrats don't get involved in primaries. We all are friends. So I can't speak to what they're doing. I think, I hope that they're meeting. I mean, if this person is...
They did.
Yeah, okay,
and
sorry.
Hakeem Jeffries still refused to endorse him. I mean, think about it from this context. Like,
How does she know this little about internal politics of the Democrats, especially in the Senate? Like, how is she getting corrected by Krystal Ann Sauger about facts of her own party leadership that she has close relationships with? She didn't know that Chuck Schumer hasn't been giving any interviews because he gets reamed whenever he goes on to a media appearance. She doesn't know that Hakeem Jeffries has met with Zoran and still refused to endorse him. She has to get corrected by these political pundits. What the fuck is she doing then? Because she's not actually doing anything meaningful. At the very least, she can be trying to play politics with her coworkers behind the scenes and understanding people's positions on like new and upcoming candidates and events. She doesn't even know that.
let's say in 2028, a more moderate figure wins the Democratic primary, and a bunch of progressives, AOC or whoever says, we're not backing, we don't agree with you. I feel like you would have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I will say this.
Yeah.
The way that this party works is when there's a coalition that sticks together. That's like a numbers issue. That's a data issue. And so I'm always going to be someone who's trying to find unity. That doesn't mean we all agree with each other. And I think...
So then tell your colleagues in the Senate to endorse Zoran Mamdani, and you should be campaigning with him. That's what, if you are actually in favor of the Democrats being together and the vote blue no matter who strategy, then do something to actually prove that you believe in that.
I wasn't in the conversations where they met privately. What they debated, what they talked about, I don't know. But to me, we got to figure out what's common among all Democrats right now. And that's why I focus on the economy, because that is, to me, the cost of living and people not being able to achieve what their parents achieved is the existential issue of our time.
That's what Zoran is focusing on. What are you? She just dodged the question. She's like, oh, well, members of my party aren't endorsing a progressive candidate. And like, I think that everyone should be focused on cost of living. It's a non sequitur. You dodged the question. And also, like, it's irrelevant for what they talked about with Zoran or not. If you truly believe in the vote blue no matter who, because you think after we get into the primary, then everyone needs to back the candidate because that's how the Democrats are the strongest, then why aren't you campaigning to actually do a vote blue no matter who strategy for Zoran?
Is the unifying issue of like all the right wing, left wing, like Americans. I don't even think it's a Democratic Party thing. And to me, that's where I spend my time because I think 80% of my constituents in Michigan, that's where they live, is like, I just want to be able to go to Disneyland and take my kids the way my dad took me.
Are you fucking kidding?
So that's where I focus.
Your example of cost of living is going to Disneyland? She is so out of touch, man. Oh, 4th generation hot dog owner. What? I'm not even going to look this up. So she's rich. She's a Nepo baby, basically. She's super rich, got into the CIA, then became a senator. And her example of someone having like a hardship in affordability is not being able to go to Disneyland. Are you serious? But you're so in touch with the struggles of the economically underprivileged in Michigan. You and your Michiganders.
I'm happy to sit down with any leader. I can't speak to...
I can't afford my insulin. I'm going to die because I got fired and I don't have a health coverage. No, I can't afford to take my kids to Disneyland. Holy shit, dude. Like, I went as a kid.
Their particular decision to endorse or not. I'm not endorsing in my own.
Right, but just
primary.
the last question.
But he won the primary.
Right, that's my question.
That's what's different.
By
By
12
points.
They have another election, though, yeah?
A general election.
General election.
Is she stupid? She doesn't know how primaries and general elections work? It's the Democratic Party's primary. They picked Zoran as their candidate, and she's like, I don't endorse in the primary. Well, now it's the general. You have the Democratic candidate you're refusing to endorse.
He's the Democratic nominee.
I see. I'm sorry. This is why I'm saying I don't follow New York politics. And I think you'd have to ask them. I don't know. I know that for me, whoever wins the Democratic primary in the state of Michigan for the Senate seat that's up, that's who I will endorse, regardless of who it is.
All right, that was my last question. So I'm going to turn it to Chris now.
Yes.
Holy shit, dude. Holy fucking shit. You can still endorse Zoran and push for your colleagues to do the same.
So I mean, I guess I'm actually a little curious, and forgive me if this is impolite. Like, I'm curious why you wanted to talk to us.
What do you mean?
Well, like, we don't have actually a lot of senators, especially ones who have very different ideology than us, reach out. So I'm curious what your goal
She reached out to the breaking points.
was and why you thought to come here.
Well, first of all, I think you have a good audience. I mean, right?
We agree.
If you appealed to like 4 friends on YouTube or whatever, then I probably wouldn't be here.
400,
But I think,
4K.
to me, part of the
Pretty
problem is that people have kind of gone to their corners. And I live this, right? I live on my family farm in a town that voted heavily for Donald Trump. I've never won my town. I've never won my precinct. I've never won my neighbors. We get along.
Here we go. This is her, that's also not something you should really brag about, but this is her stump speech, right? This is the Democrats' favorite way to campaign. Let me give you my stump speech about how I came up from a lowly hot dog company and joined the CIA and then became a senator that was getting groomed for leadership by the top Democrat in the Senate.
But I never won them, and I probably never will. So to me, I think that the people have gone to their corners, and like people who used to be able to talk about politics and disagree don't even get in the same room together. So I kind of like the idea of your show. Like it was interesting to me when my team pitched me, right? We go through, and like there's no hiding it. Lots of people are like, how do we evolve in this
So you didn't want to talk to them. Your team wanted you to talk to them.
new space? Yeah. You know, like
Bro, she's just so off-putting. She's so off-putting. She's like, she's like your fucking coworker that's just weird and you don't really want to talk to, and you're just like, I'd rather ignore you. She's so fucking weird, man. And she has the fake like folksiness to her, right? Oh, I just care about my Michiganders. She just seems so fucking empty, man. She's empty. She doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to Chuck Schumer. She doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to Hakeem Jeffries meeting with Zoran. She doesn't know that Zoran made cost of living like the core component of his campaign. She doesn't know that like any of his positions. She just says that, oh, he's a socialist, so I disagree with him because I like capitalism because my family made a bunch of money selling hot dogs. She's just so empty. She has nothing. It's like she lives in some kind of compartment and her PR team or her campaign team rolls her out every now and then, and that's her first exposure to the world in a month. How do you not... Well, this is your reaction to when you got asked, why did you come on here? And you're like, oh, well, my team pitched it to me and they said that you have a right and a left person on. And I thought that was cool. Your team wanted you to come.
That's not you know, it's not that that conversation isn't happening. It is, and I think that's good, and to the credit of lots of shows like yours.
Yeah.
But I think your show appealed to me as I was being pitched because you guys don't agree. And
just say, oh, I've heard about your show. I really like the style of it. So I wanted to come. Oh my God.
like I am very focused. My dad was a lifelong Republican, my mom a lifelong Democrat. Like Michiganders want to get back to a place where we can disagree on politics and not have it be so like bitter.
So
no, they don't. They don't. That's what Democrats. That's what the Democratic establishment wishes their constituents actually wanted. They don't want that, dude. That's what Democrats want, right? Democrats want to be like, oh, well, you want to kill like 400 million people by kicking them off of, or not 400 million. You want to kill millions of people by kicking them off of their health insurance. You want to cut SNAP benefits, which is going to send like 750,000 kids into hunger. But like... let's just have a beer after we vote for this and relax with each other. This is what the Democrats want. They want to be friends with their opposition, right? Because they don't actually care about anything. This isn't what the constituents want. She's projecting her wishes onto her constituency. Their constituents are mad as hell, dude. Holy God. Like, we looked at her Instagram comments. That's on her Instagram. And people are like, what the fuck are you doing to actually make our lives better?
I hear you on the idea of like you want to talk about the economics and the unifying and cost of living. And I think that ignores a big elephant in the room, especially when you're talking about even Zoran Mamdani. Mm-hmm. The reason Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer don't want to endorse him is because of his position on Israel. The single most viral clip.
Oh my God, Krystal. Yes, let's fucking go.
That he had in that election actually wasn't about cost of living, even though that's what he wanted to make his campaign about. His opponent, Sandra Coleman in particular, wanted to make it all about accusing him of anti-Semitism and attacking him for his views on Israel and Palestine. So the most viral moment from that entire...
Is she going to say during the debate, when the moderators asked Zoran, would you go to Israel and do you think Israel has a right to exist? Or is she going to talk about the Stephen Colbert clip? I think like the debate clip was the most viral, but Stephen Colbert is a close second.
Entire campaign, I believe, was this moment on the debate stage. Guys, this is E1. Let me go ahead and play this for you, and then I want to get your reaction.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
As a Jewish state?
No,
as a state with equal rights.
Now, this was considered very controversial when he said it, and I think the results are in at this point that he didn't win in spite of his position there. He won in part because of it, including if you listen to Andrew Cuomo's numbers, he won a majority of Jewish voters inside of New York City. And so what I'm curious for your view on is while, you know, I would love to debate you on your healthcare policy, I think we need Medicare for all, you think public option, your housing policy, et cetera. I'm just being really real with you. I don't really hear what you say if you are still supporting a genocide in Gaza. And that's for me, you know, I'm speaking for myself, but I know there are millions of other people who feel the same, that you have to at least cross this sort of moral threshold. And what it indicates to people, and I think part of why, you know, Zoran won so many people in New York City, young people in particular, but
I mean, this is what we're talking about when I say that people don't want a younger politician. They don't want like a new generation of politician. They want a politician that's real. And Zoran Mamdani, when he said, I believe Israel has a right to exist as a state with equal rights for everyone, is real. That's a real position. That's not this fucking like corporate speak bullshit of, oh, well, aid is being mismanaged, but Israel deserves to exist and Palestine deserves to exist. It should be a two-state solution while Israel's genociding the Palestinians. And you have American politicians with a mental disconnect with the reality on the ground, just like putting their head in the sand and saying, oh, well, two-state solution, both sides are at fault. And that's just like, you are not a real person if you are saying that. That is a disconnect from your constituency, because your constituents can see what's going on and they're not beholden to Israel like people like Elissa Slotkin, who have taken money from AIPAC are.
Jewish New Yorkers, people across the board, is because it was a sign of, number one, okay, you're focused on New York City first and foremost. Sure. Number two, you're willing to take the heat on an issue that is really difficult for you, where you're being overtly smeared as an anti-Semite. And number three, there's no, you know, entrenched interest that's going to
All right, what are the odds that Elissa Slotkin says, well, he actually is anti-Semitic?
control. You have a spine, you have principles, you're willing to stand up for something. And so, you know, I'm curious for your reflections on that because of your voting record and where you've stood on this conflict.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the proudest moments that I had in my last election, where I just won on the same ballot as Donald Trump, was that I won a majority of Jewish voters in Michigan. We have a large Jewish population. And I won Dearborn Heights, and Hamtramck, the three Muslim-dominated cities. Trump won 2 out of the 3.
Muslim-dominated?
So I think the thing that I would push back on is the voters vote with their feet, right? We have a moment in an election where they get to decide. And there was no issue that was more difficult for me in this last, I would say 6 years, but certainly in this last election, other than this issue, because it's personal. I'm a Middle East analyst by training. And so what I tried to do, and why I think I managed to win both those communities, is call balls and strikes, literally up to this week, on what's going on.
So let's talk a little bit more about that.
But I think it's important, right? If you're going to push on me, then I think like there's one of us that's had an election and had to appeal to my voters and win. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that Mr. Mamdani won. Or actually, I didn't know his name. I didn't know much about him until he won. But
she didn't know his name.
Because I think this issue is motivating people in a very visceral and personal way.
Yeah.
But it's not the only issue that my voters in Michigan care about.
Of course.
And the online world is extremely, extremely focused on this, but that doesn't always represent the majority.
Oh my God, how disgusting. The online world is focused on the genocide, but that doesn't represent the majority of people. Yeah, we're going to ignore all of the fucking free Gaza protests. Gaza protests. USA. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Protests, including rallies, demonstrations, campaigns, and vigils relating to the Gaza war, have occurred nationwide across the U.S. since October 7th. By December 5th, more than 1 million Americans had participated in protests over the conflict. Across 2,600 events, 442 in support of Israel and 2,100 in support of Palestine. An escalation of pro-Palestinian protests on university campuses. I mean, this is a major issue, and you're going to relegate it to it being online? Look at your smug fucking face. Online people care about genocide, but not in real life. She's literally making the argument that people don't actually care about genocide. Why don't you defend your position? Oh, this is personal to me because I analyzed it when I was part of the CIA. Okay, so you're responsible for helping Israel do the genocide then.
And I think if I can push back, like if we're out on the road every day in Michigan when I'm there. In some communities, that issue is the number one issue, 100%. And like, I mean, up till this morning, right? Like people texting my phone and talking about a plan, something we're working on. But I go outside the Detroit area, it's not in the top 40.
But Senator, it's not just a political issue; it's also a moral issue. Is what I'm trying to get to. So let's talk about those.
Yeah, that was a disgusting response. Oh, well, I know that genocide is important, but like it's not that important of an issue in some areas of the country. So you're sidestepping? She's literally just sidestepping.
Calling it balls and strikes, if you will. So first of all, do you accept that Israel has a policy of enforced famine and starvation in the Gaza Strip?
I think I literally put my name on a letter yesterday or last night that says like a policy of starvation, people are starting to starve. And in general, I mean, I served in places like Ramadi and Fallujah. I watched in 2004 and 2005
It's her letter.
Al-Qaeda terrorists drag American citizens behind a vehicle until they died, right? Like horrible, and then string them up like a lynching.
Okay.
We still had a responsibility to get aid into Fallujah, despite the fact that we were fighting Al-Qaeda cells in Fallujah, and I have been clear about that.
So this is a crime against humanity. Forced starvation is a crime against humanity.
The occupying power has a responsibility to get aid into the war zone, period.
So
by the law of war.
So in addition, do you accept that the Israeli plan, as reported by Haaretz, as discussed openly by ministers like Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, as backed by the President of the United States, is forced ethnic cleansing?
I think we have, as recently as yesterday, the Prime Minister of Israel talking about.
So you have a letter that she sent to Steve Witkoff basically saying, please force Israel to let in aid.
Forced migration into certain areas and then potentially out of the country. That is not legal. That is not on any international standard since World War II. And I've been clear about that. So I would ask for a little bit of an open mind.
Well, what I would ask is, listen, I'm a YouTuber. You know, I have my words, that's all I have. But you're a United States Senator. Like you're not the president, but you have power. So what are you going to do? Because so far what we've seen, I mean, you voted for some of the aid that's been used to massacre children and innocents. You know, you have backed Israel, as far as I can tell, from your voting record at almost every turn. You voted for a definition of anti-Semitism that would, codify anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism. You voted as a member of the House to sanction the ICC for indicting Benjamin Netanyahu, who you just admitted is a war criminal, by your own words. So are you going to join Senator Angus King, Senator Bernie Sanders in saying no more aid to this country that is committing war crimes against innocent civilians?
I think the first thing, if you're asking about what to do.
God damn, dude, Krystal's cooking her. Okay, so yes, sending a letter saying please feed to the Palestinians is all well and good. But when you're also sending aid to Israel, why would Israel let in the aid? If Israel has a policy of ethnic cleansing Gaza and forced starvation, shooting Palestinians whenever they try to get aid, why would Israel ever let in food or not shoot them when they try to get the food if they're still getting funding from the United States? You need to actually have some consequences for if Israel refuses to actually feed Palestinians. That's what you need to do, man.
With power. And I would offer that right now Democrats own nothing in Washington. So
don't play powerless with me. You're a United States Senator. There are things you can do.
In terms of who runs our foreign policy, I just think it's interesting.
So her two defenses for her atrocious positions on Gaza is A, oh, it's not that important of an issue. And then B, I'm powerless. I'm in the minority. Dude, have some guts. Have some guts.
Right? That there was a ton of protests when Democrats were in charge.
There was a protest in Manhattan yesterday.
Okay. I think it's fair to say, just to be honest, that back and forth, the number of protests.
Engaged constituents, principled leaders. Engaged constituents, principled leaders. What are you doing? 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 Oh my God, they just hate me, the Democrat. Oh my God. No, they were just too engaged when it was the Democrats in power and we couldn't do anything. They overwhelmed our systems. My phone got jammed from all of the calls that we're trying to get fit in. Oh my God, they were too engaged. But now now I can be principled now that we're in the minority, right? And I can't do anything. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
That go on now versus before.
Well, they were part of your political coalition.
Well, not to mention, Senator Slotkin,
that's fair.
Obviously, I'm here.
Yeah.
I was very upset over the Biden.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, man. If you're in power, you're going to get protested because they're your constituents. What happened to engaged constituents, principled leaders? Engaged constituents, principled leaders. Oh my God, they're engaged. Be principled now. Have some fucking principles.
administration policy. And as you can tell, I'm very upset over the Trump administration policy.
Yeah.
So let's deal not in strawman, but me
Okay,
and
but
here
in
and now.
terms of the tools that I have, the tools that we have in general, to me, the most important thing is a pressurized campaign.
All I've got is a hot dog. That's all I can do. All I have is a hot dog corporation that got me where I am today.
To get aid into people who are starving. That to me is the number one, because that's the one is.
Bitch, how the fuck do you have tools to force the foreign department, the foreign affairs department of Trump's administration to let in aid, but you don't have tools to force Israel to stop killing Palestinians and have there be a permanent ceasefire? How do you have tools to do one thing but not the other? If you send a letter saying, please, like, force Israel to let in aid, you can send a letter telling the foreign affairs department to force Israel to do a permanent ceasefire. Why can't you do that too? What's stopping you from writing another letter?
Urgent and today. And that.
But will you cut off aid to Israel so long as they're committing crimes against humanity?
There is a difference between a weapon to protect a country from incoming missiles versus other type. Offensive and defensive weapons are different.
So would you support offensive weapons ban? Like, would you stop any offensive aid to Israel?
That certainly, to me, would be
Also,
a place
that's
to
bullshit.
look.
That's a bullshit response, right? If you are shielding a guy who's killing another person and you're giving them like shields and then they just keep shooting people, you are helping the person to murder other people. You might not be supplying them the bullets in their gun, but you're preventing any repercussions from going back upon that person. This is a complete bullshit argument. If you're giving defensive weapons to an offensive country, you're helping them be offensive. It's extremely simple.
I'm not going to cut off a blanket next sale on a defensive weapon that comes through. No.
I also reject that because, for example, if Senator Slotkin, if you were asked to support defensive weapons for Iran, defensive weapons for Russia, you wouldn't back that.
No, but Iran, but
they're defensive. They're just protecting civilians, right? So how is it different?
But because Israel's being shot at.
So is
Iran.
Yeah.
So is Russia.
Ukraine's shooting at Russia right now.
Bro, she's brain broken. She's actually a fucking moron. What is happening? Like, she looked dumb. She sounded dumb. I didn't think she was actually dumb. You can't come up with a better response to that on the fly. You didn't get fed those talking points today when they put the fucking, like, programming chip inside the slot in your spine. Elissa Slotkin. They didn't feed you the correct talking points today? Oh my God.
I'm sorry. This is the difference between allies, partners, and adversaries.
Why is it an ally then? What are they doing right now which just makes it an ally?
I think allied relationships, just like Lithuania.
Literally tanking the reputation of America on a global stage, like making America a pariah state. That's what Israel is doing.
Right now, like an allied
But they buy so many of our guns, right? So like we have to have them be our ally.
Relationship or a partnership between allies, partners, and adversaries.
Why is it an ally then? What are they doing right now which just makes it an ally?
I think allied relationships, just like Lithuania right now, like an allied relationship or a partner relationship is a long-standing relationship of information sharing and diplomacy. And that is, to me, it's not a like everyday.
Russia and Iran don't have long-standing relationships of information sharing and diplomacy. Like, once again, we can build relationships and we can destroy relationships. We had a relationship with Iran where we had the Iran nuclear deal. Donald Trump got rid of it, right? Like, you could make the argument that we should be allies with Iran and sell them our defensive weapons, right?
We decide Lithuania is our ally or not. We're allied or not. And sometimes we have big breaks with allies, right? Sometimes we have difficult moments with allies. Sometimes
she's literally just saying, well, I mean, we should give money to Israel just because, like, you know, they're built different, right?
Sometimes it goes the wrong way with allies. But an allied relationship is a long-term relationship.
It's hard for me to understand why we should ally. Like, I'm sure you believe in, like, or claim to believe in liberal human rights. Why would we ally with a nation that is committing a genocide and live streaming it?
Can I ask, literally, like this? I think about this from the mirror image way because I do not support the things that Donald Trump is doing, right? But I'm an American. So I want other countries to look at America and be like, we can't stand Donald Trump, so we're going to end any longstanding relationship we have with the American people. We're going to cut off any support.
Yes, you should do that because then Americans. Wait, is she actually making this argument? Is she saying that, do you want, if America does a genocide, countries to really stop doing business with America? Yes, I do. Because that's going to dampen the spirits of Americans, and that's going to make people hold Trump to account, especially people with power in this country. Like corporations and other politicians are going to be like, oh, fuck, like, we're losing a lot of money with this guy. We got to get him out, man. Yes, please do as many embargoes on America as you wish if America starts doing an open genocide. Like, I wish that we had more embargoes on America when America does shitty stuff. Like, America right now is funding a genocide. I wish that people started, putting more embargoes on America.
Give them on information sharing or intelligence sharing. Like, we are not just our elected leaders. And I think that's the thing that's been lost in the conversation.
So B'Tselem and another Israeli human rights organization joined the Global Consensus, Amnesty International, some 800 scholars. There was a piece from an Israeli scholar in the New York Times in saying this is a genocide. Do you accept, even Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday came out and said it's a genocide. Do you accept that? And if you do, I mean, what responsibility does a United States senator have for, this is a nation that, we send every year billions of dollars to aid, to aid that you have, voted for and supported. Like, what responsibility does a United States senator have to prevent genocide and to stop genocide that we see ongoing?
We have a responsibility up till today to ensure that food is getting in.
Is it
so
a
that
genocide?
People don't starve. I don't know that I'd use that term.
Why?
But it is violating the law of war.
Why don't you use the term, though?
Because I think,
It's violating the law of war. It's violating the law of war. Oh my God, dude. Oh, yeah, you don't say. You don't say it's violating the law of war. What do we have here? 61,000 people have been killed. 59,866 Palestinians as of July 4th. So probably over 60,000 now. Or July 24th. They've been reported killed. 217 journalists and media workers, 120 academics, over 224 humanitarian aid workers, a number that includes 179 employees of UNRWA, UNRWA. Scholars have estimated 80% of Palestinians killed are civilians. A study by OHCHR, which verified fatalities from 3 independent sources, found that 70% of the Palestinians killed in residential buildings or similar housing were women and children. Oh my God. Oh, they violated the laws of war. Elissa Slotkin has deemed that they violated the laws of war, but it's not a genocide.
To me, do I think it's ethnic cleansing, which is what I think of in genocide? I don't know if it meets that definition.
You literally said that they're trying to move the population of Gaza earlier in this. You said that they were trying to move. Oh my God. Israel is outright calling for ethnic cleansing.
Say it earlier that it was ethnic cleansing? He said,
yes! Even Sagar is like, did you say earlier it was ethnic cleansing?
Genocide. I don't know if it meets that definition.
Bro, also, I like the disgusting depravity of quibbling over whether it's an ethnic cleansing or it's a genocide or not. 60,000 people are dead. 80% are civilians. Like, at the very minimum, 80% are civilians. You can say it's a genocide. Once again, man, you say you're powerless and you have nothing you can do to actually stop the genocide that's going on. So why not just say it's a genocide? Oh, you're gonna worry that you might overcorrect and give too much aid to the Palestinian people, give them too many rights?
Yeah, but didn't you say it earlier that it was ethnic cleansing? He said that they wanted to force it. I mean, this is open from the Israeli government. Like, they're saying it. Their Minister of National Security. They come out and they're like, we don't need shells. We need shells, not food, and we need to encourage migration. They're saying
you're not going to get me to support what the Israeli government is saying right now. I think the point I was trying to make is it's not just about, like, we have relationships with nations over time, regardless of who their leaders are.
CIA talk. This is CIA talk, man. She's in the CIA and she can't justify being allies with Israel. Just like, think about that. When asked why are we allies with Israel, her response was, we've been allies with them a long time. That's why we're allies with them. I mean, I know that the conspiracy is that Jeffrey Epstein was getting information on a lot of our political leaders, but when even a member of the CIA can't give a good reason why we're allies with Israel, it makes me think that, like, Mossad, Israel's CIA, has a lot of information on Americans, on powerful Americans that they don't want to get out, and that's why they're in that relationship. I mean, the other obvious answer is that America's just using Israel as a dumping ground to sell their weapons to, right? Like, we buy weapons from our weapon manufacturers and send that off to Israel. So we have a justification for this never-ending machine of creating weapons.
We have really tough moments. We have easier moments. But that doesn't, so I'm not willing to say that, like, I hate everything ever.
Sure,
into
but so
the future.
even if
They asked you, was it a genocide?
you accept that they're committing a genocide, you still wouldn't cut off their aid?
I think that defensive aid and offensive aid are different things. And I think at this point,
So
what
if
they're
Nazi
doing
Germany,
every single day
if
is
Nazi
doing,
Germany said we want defensive aid, I mean, it's just you have to see.
Come on, Krystal. Nazi Germany. No, we weren't allies with them for a long time. Come on, Krystal. We weren't selling them our weapons.
Where they're all weapons that are being shipped. You know, in
they're
another
not using
context,
the weapons that they're using right now. I mean, to be honest, if you look at what's happening on the ground,
Bro, I don't even want to send, like, face masks to Israel. I don't want to send baby formula to Israel. Fuck Israel. Any kind of thing that we send to Israel for free, we should not be doing right now because they're doing a genocide.
the military part of this conflict is, for the most part, over. What they are doing, what they are doing
Senator,
every single day is around aid, and they are hurting
They
people
have
around the
slaughtered over
delivery of
1,000
aid.
people who were starving people just trying to get aid.
That is
I
not
know you
high,
know this.
That's not high intensity bombs. That's not the weapons that we were talking about 2 years ago. It's just not.
I mean, just like a few weeks ago, they bombed a cafe, killing like 70 people there. They just bombed a church in Gaza. What do you mean? What's that church that they bombed? Gaza church bombed. When did this happen? In October? Oh wait. July 17th. Israel says it regrets a deadly strike on Catholic church in Gaza. So this was on July 17th. They killed 3 people in a church. They hit what I don't know. They don't really say what the church's name was. The parish priest and 3 were killed. The parish priest was injured, and then 3 people were killed as an Israeli strike hits the Catholic church in Gaza. And she's like, the military part of the genocide is over. Now they're just shooting them. It's just insane.
Sorry, every single day the military reports that I read.
Also, saying that they've stopped using like massive bombs on Gaza is not a justification to send Israel defensive weapons to replenish its like Iron Dome system.
They are traditional, like, this is a military that has a bad strategy. It is not the bombs that we were seeing 2 years ago.
It's not a military that has a bad strategy. The strategy is forced starvation and ethnic cleansing. That's their strategy, and they're accomplishing it very effectively with the full backing of the United States government, including sadly Democrats.
Well,
and so a couple more questions that I know you have to run.
Look at her.
You know, I'm curious
like a dog
why
with her tail between her legs.
you condemned Rashida Tlaib for using the rally chant, you know, from the river to the sea, something she said for her evokes equal rights, and you have not condemned Randy Fine, who said that Gazans should, quote, starve away, who floated that the Gaza Strip should be nuked, who called Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Soran as well, called them Muslim terrorists. Where is the concern over him?
I have no problem condemning Randy Fine, who I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know who that person is.
She doesn't know him.
I have no problem condemning someone.
She doesn't know him, so she won't condemn him. Once again, what does she know about what's going on in the Senate? She seems to not know much about her own colleagues, right? She seems to just get talking points fed to her. And when she repeats those talking points, she's strong. But when everything else, I don't know.
Senator, we have to ask your last question because your staff is telling us. Do you think AIPAC should register as a foreign?
Oh, her staff is telling them that they're going away. Oh, okay. The staff, whoever pitched going on to the show for Elissa Slotkin, they're getting axed, man. The staff's desperately waving off camera. Cut it. We gotta go.
I'm condemning Randy Fine, who I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know who that person is. I have no problem condemning.
She doesn't know. She's never heard of Randy Fine, the guy who called to nuke Gaza.
Your staff is telling us. Do you think AIPAC should register as a foreign lobby?
I don't know the answer to that. I think that
she doesn't know a lot, does she? She does not know a lot. Oh my God.
People who think they should.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't.
It's kind of a cop-out answer, don't you think?
I mean, yeah. I literally, I just guess I'd have to look at the definition. I certainly have had my tough moments with that organization, and
so you stop accepting their funding.
you got to get your facts straight. I have not been endorsed by AIPAC. I have not. I'm sorry. I was the first Jew elected to the Senate that was not endorsed by any Jewish group. AIPAC, J Street.
You've been the recipient of their funds.
AIPAC is not a Jewish group. It's a pro-Israel group. Holy shit! What a fucking anti-Semitic thing to say. Oh yeah, it's a Jewish group, right, to support Israel. No, like there's a lot of non-Jewish people in America that support Israel.
In 2018, when I first ran, people who were members, yes, but I've not been endorsed since then. And I just got to be honest.
So she did get money from AIPAC?
Endorsed by any Jewish group, AIPAC, J Street.
You've been the recipient of their funds.
In 2018, when I first ran, people who were members, yes, but I've not been endorsed since then.
So she did get given money by them.
I just got to be honest. Like, I think that this is where facts really matter. I've had very difficult conversations with my colleagues in that organization and made a choice back in 2021. So that was the first time I was up for re-election. So I understand that there's a sort of like, again, cornered position, but to me, like I call balls and strikes as someone who served in the Middle East.
I have one more question I have to ask you.
Okay, wait, what? Pro-Israel America PAC expenditures. Wait, sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. This is Open Secrets. So it looks like Elissa Slotkin got $22,000 from a pro-Israel America PAC in 2022. But no, she's never been endorsed by AIPAC, right? So we have Tracker, Congressman. What do we have here? Elissa Slotkin, who's my representative, Alabama. So this is the Israel lobby in U.S. Congress. Use Control F. Okay, let's just look up Slotkin. And Michigan, Elissa Slotkin. Track AIPAC. 656,000 independent expenditures and campaign contributions received from pro-Israel interest groups. Okay, well, it seems like she lied when she said she was never endorsed by pro-Jewish groups. I mean, once again, that's not a pro-Jewish group. AIPAC is a pro-Israel group.
You know, we do the show. I really do my best to try to uphold, like, you know, basic human rights, Palestinian humanity, oppose the killing of innocent civilians wherever that happens. And I have to tell you, like, I feel really guilty that I'm not doing enough. I think all the time about, I'm a mom, I think all the time about those moms who can't feed their babies. Mm-hmm. Those babies are starving to death. And I just want to know, like, you're a United States Senator, you did vote for some of the bombs that were dropped on refugee camps. When kids have been sniped in the head, tents firebombed, people set on fire. The entire Gaza Strip turned into rubble. And now we're seeing these emaciated bodies of babies starving to death every day. And I
know what you can do.
Does it eat you up? Does it eat you up? Do you think, like, what more could I do? Do you regret any of your votes? Do you
let me
regret
tell you
any
what I
sort
was
of
working on this morning. A group of Jewish rabbis and Muslim community leaders came together with a proposal that we are working on.
You're a monster. You voted to approve bombs that were dropped on Palestinians. And now you're saying that, oh, well, I sent a letter. You know, I'm powerless, but I sent a letter to the Trump administration to get them to try to feed Palestinians. You know, Trump, the guy who said Palestinians want to die. Trump, the guy who put out an AI video of him with Trump hotels in Gaza. Trump, the guy who said we're just going to ethnically cleanse Gaza of Palestinians for a little bit, and then maybe they're going to want to come back, maybe they don't. Trump, I'm powerless, but I sent a letter, and sure, I voted for bombs to kill Palestinians, but I don't really care about that. I sent a letter. My conscience is clean.
Just getting, like, if we can't get other aid in, at least get baby formula and nutritional supplements for children in.
There's no reason you can't get other aid. Dude, fuck her, man. Oh my God, I am so disgusted with the people that claim they represent Democrat voters.
Green light, never has a problem. No one's trying to eat baby formula other than a baby, right? That is the proposal that I've been working on all night. And
why don't you send guns into Gaza? Why don't you push for air defenses for Gaza? Because they need it more than Israel, right? The Palestinians are getting bombed more than Israelis are. You should support them, right? Oh my God, I'm freaking out.
This morning. So in terms of what we're trying to do, there's not a moment that goes by that this isn't something that I'm working on and something that my own community, not online, but my own community has practical things that they want to do. They're willing to raise the money. They're willing to buy the formula. They're willing to do whatever we need to do to get it shipped in. That's how I spend my time.
But you're not willing to cut off aid to Israel.
To me, that to me is the most effective thing that I can do today.
This is not a question. Your staff is telling us you absolutely have to go. So we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming.
Saved by her staff. What a loser. What a fucking loser. I hope she never wins election again. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, last thing that we need to talk about, and I haven't seen this, but I'm excited. I'm excited. I need to see this clip. Oh no, who's that? Is that a Zionist who said he's pro-genocide and he had a paid trip to Israel where he told the IDF soldiers to not live stream their war crimes so that they don't get into any kind of trouble afterwards? He must be in favor of watching this democratic establishment creature get her feet held to the fire. He must love this, right? Let's see.
What I'm curious for your view on is, while, you know, I would love to debate you on your healthcare policy, I think we need Medicare for all, you think public option, your housing policy, etc. I'm just being really real with you. I don't really hear what you say if you are still supporting a genocide in Gaza. And
oh my God. What did I say before? That one of the biggest issues.
Krystal says, I can't really agree with you if you still support a genocide in Gaza, and Destiny starts crying. He actually started crying.
what you say if you are still supporting a genocide in Gaza. And
Oh my God. What did I say before? That one of the biggest issues that these brain rotted lefty had is one of the reasons why I won't build a bridge to Kyle Kuklinski. And these people said every single issue collapses into the black hole that is fucking Gaza. Holy shit. What the fuck? I will not support. By the way, if there are people that are doing this, like, I'm allegiant to Israel and I think Jews are the best in the world and I want to go masturbate at the Wailing Wall and I want to eat all of Netanyahu's cum and blah, blah, blah. Those people are fucking cringe as fuck, okay? Call them Zog, whatever the fuck you want. It is equally cringe, though, to throw your entire country under the bus for Hamas, okay? And the Palestinians. I'm sorry. If you think that all of the weird foreign allegiance to Israel cringe, fine. You know, I'll meet you halfway. I'll probably even meet you more than halfway on that, okay? Because the only interest I have in Israel is insofar as it serves U.S. interests. But if you're willing to use that argument, but then on the other side you go, I'm sorry, battleground state, Michigan, I need to know exactly what you're going to do to ensure that we have a one-state solution where all of the Palestinians get the right to return back to their land, and we're going to fight against Israel. And it's like, excuse me, what the fuck are we talking about right now?
Okay,
I'm curious for
so
your
we
view on
have
as well.
Destiny as a perfect representation of the democratic establishment. Okay, so let's just wrap this video up. Sorry, that was weird. What we have is Democratic voters pissed off that the people that claim they represent them doing absolutely nothing. They claim that they hate seeing the children starving to death in Israel. They claim that they are trying to fight against Donald Trump. But when it comes down to actually campaigning on anything, they have no stances, they have no positions to take at all. Once again, she said, I'm not going to call it a genocide, I'm powerless to actually achieve anything, but I am going to send a letter saying that we should give them baby formula, right? All of these are half measures. When you have someone like Destiny reacting to a leftist, a person who actually cares about moral issues and cares about stopping genocide from happening, and you have Destiny saying that, oh, you're willing to throw away the entire country in order to virtue signal that you're more pure about Gaza. You're willing to throw away the entire country for Hamas. You're going to throw America under the bus. What did we see in the New York election? We saw that Democratic voters are insistent that their politicians be moral. They're insistent that their politicians actually be real people. And if you can't call out what's happening in Israel as a bad thing, and you can't stand wholeheartedly against that, you are not equipped to be a representative of the American people. That's as simple as it can be. If you can't accurately describe what's happening in Israel as a bad thing and stand against it wholeheartedly, you should not be in power at all. That's where I'm going to leave it at. Elissa Slotkin can go fuck herself. I love that she got her feet held to the fire. I love that she got so uncomfortable that she just started stammering. And at the end of the conversation, Krystal called her out as a human being, as a mother, as how horrible that she's been acting. And she has no defense to it. She has no defense, no cutthroat political instincts. And that interview went as badly as it could have gone for her. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot less of this. This is definitely not the start of something new. This is going to, I mean, once again, this is a continuation of Democratic voters calling their representatives piss off about them. So anyway, the Democrat constituency really is just hungry for any kind of fight, any kind of pushback against this administration, and hungry for someone that's real, that actually cares about them and cares about their constituency more than they care about their analyst job of looking at Israel and Gaza. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to everyone later. See ya.